I can hear you.
Yes,
All right.
I can hear you clearly.
So hi everyone, thank you so much Jennifer and Pan-African Women Empowerment Network Movement for this opportunity. So we're going to use this channel as a platform where we are all learning together and we're giving information to each other, and I hope in one way or another we can all benefit. So I will present my screen. Let me know once you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. So a brief introduction about myself. My name is Cyrose Kyalo. I am currently a data analyst at PwC Kenya. And well, I love data so much. I love interacting with data. I love to see and visualize the data that I have. And yeah, that is it about me for now. So to begin the session, I have a short story about commitment. So for me to be able to do my work, I really need to be committed. So growing up in Kenya, a common story that we've grown up knowing is about the pig and the hen. So one day, the hen went to the pig and told the pig, "Hi, do you mind us starting up a business?" And the pig goes like, "What name do you want us to call the business?" And the hen goes, "I think we're going to name it bacon and eggs." And then the pig was like, "Let me think about it for a minute." And then the pig was like, "You know what? I don't want to be involved in this because I'm going to be committed and you're going to be involved." So I leave that to you to think about that. As we go forward, I would want you to think about if you're really keen about data analysis, to what extent do you want to be committed to it? My next slide is basically going to be what is data analysis. So I'll play a short video on that.
I don't know if it's just me. I can't hear anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Let me just see. Can you hear now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
we
hear you,
can
but
hear
not the
you.
video.
But the video is
Can you hear the video?
No, we
Go
can't.
back to the sharing and then click on share sound. It's at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Where exactly?
So when you click on share, look
Yeah.
down, see share sound. It has a box next to it.
Unfortunately, I can't see that.
Okay.
Maybe I can put it on chat for you to play it for everyone. Yeah, you can play it for us. Hello.
Analytics.
I'm here. I'm here. Just give me a second.
Okay.
You can try and check your laptop if the volume is high.
Yeah, just give me a second, please. Let me. All right. I think I've seen it.
Thank you.
Let's understand data
Hey, Siri.
analytics with an example. Come with me. I will take you
Is there sound?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
to 90s.
Do you have wheat bread?
Please, can you
I will
restart
just
it
go
from
and
the
check.
beginning back, please?
What is data analytics? Let's understand data analytics with an example. Come with me. I will take you to 90s.
Do you have wheat bread?
I will just go and check. Sorry, sir. It's finished. Oh shit. I forgot to get extra bread stock for weekend. Please, sir, can you come tomorrow morning?
I will buy from someone else.
I wish I could remember. Now will he come to my store again?
Now let us come back to 21st century.
Hey, I need wheat bread.
Miss, can you check?
Sir, you can take the bread from row 2, rack 4 and slab 1.
Thank you. Can you please bill all this? Also, I have a question in mind. How can you remember so many things?
It is not me, sir. It is the machine that is doing all this. It gives me all the information whenever I ask anything like my current stock, price of items and other things.
That is cool.
Data analytics has helped me a lot.
So earlier decisions which were made by instincts are now backed by historical data captured. Data analytics had made everyone's life simpler because of automated decision making. In day-to-day life it is helping us in many ways. There are 3 types of data analytics. First, descriptive. For example, creating sales dashboards and tracking performance of products. But they do not tell us why change happened or what will happen in future. So next we have predictive, where utilizing historical data, predict which will help in making more profit. OR, which customers should be shown advertisement on social media platform. Or finding out the appropriate launch date for a movie to get maximum customers. Third, we have prescriptive, like how much discount to offer on different items, or which platform to use for engaging customers, and also what content to showcase. So, data analytics is not only the buzzword, but actually has its important in finding insights and making decisions to ease our life. Like, share, comment and also follow us on YouTube and Facebook to get more videos like this on data.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So let me go back to my slides. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. You're muted.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I am struggling with this. Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. So from the video that we've seen that data analysis has come to help us in many aspects in our lives. So it's brought us the concept of automation, things that we used to try to do manually. Now we can actually go and check, and through this automation of data analysis, many solutions have been created. And from the video, of course, we have many different many varieties of data analysis. But with my with my presentation today, allow me to focus on 3 of them. That's the descriptive one, the predictive one, and the prescriptive one. Going forward, we are going to discuss that in detail. So I want this section to be more of an interactive section where if you're in the group and you think you've interacted with the different steps in data analysis, you can give us an illustration where you've interacted with that. So before you go and ask a client or someone for data, you first of all have to sit down and understand what's your objective, what are you trying to solve. So you have to have the problem that you're trying to solve, and you have to go further and understand what's the root cause of that problem. So after you've understood your problem, after you've narrowed it down, you go to the process of obtaining the data. So this is a step where most of us normally have the challenge with, because data, first of all, is data that is protected. You don't expect someone to give you data unless it's specific and you're already working somewhere and that's the root cause that you're taking. Obtaining the data is normally a challenge. So when obtaining our data, it's always a challenge. Also, when you've already on your problem that you're trying to solve, once you obtain your data, you always have to protect your data. There's this thing in privacy where once you obtain your data, you have to sign in like independence forms, or even the different types of data sets that you're obtaining. You have to make sure you're protecting the different types of data sets. And then there's something else when you're obtaining the data. Your data has to be accurate 100%, because if you don't have accurate data, then there's no point of you continuing with your data, because you won't be able to come up with your complete results. There's the concept of data completeness. So in terms of, it depends on what engagement you're doing, what field you're into with the data, again, narrows down to the problem that you're solving. It has to be complete. There are different ways of measuring completeness. So we also have to check at the quality of the data that we are receiving and the data reliability. Is it something that you can go back and obtain data that has been there for previous years, so that you can make a conclusive decision if you're doing a predictive analysis. So after that, we normally clean our data. So we have different tools that we clean our data, and I also want to hear from you people, what kind of tools do we use, before I go into the aspect of the tools that I personally have interacted with them and I've seen other people interacting with. And then we have the concept of analyzing and sharing our results. Also there, we're going to talk now about the different analyzing techniques that we are currently using in our society. And yes, so I would want someone in the congregation to come up and tell us what tools have they been using to clean their data. So it's open to anyone to discuss.
Okay, we have people sending in messages in the chat. That's awesome. Yvonne,
okay, maybe
Python.
read them.
Akin uses SQL. Temitope uses Excel. Anyton uses Excel. Mujib uses R. Jazzy uses Power BI, and TK uses Excel as well.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I think with the way that we are going right now, Excel is actually a good tool, but you'd imagine if you're working maybe on recomputation of loans in a bank and you want to go the data analysis way, and you're doing this month on month, it would be very difficult for you to recompute all of them on the Excel. So there are new tools that I'm going to share with you. So we have tools like Tableau and Power BI. These are basically visualization tools, but for the data part of it, tools have come up right now. Like we have the Alteryx models. These tools are able to collect more data as opposed to what you can be able to do in Excel. They're for huge data sets in case you really want to analyze a lot of data. For SQL, yeah, SQL is actually a good tool that you can use to analyze big data sets. And of course, I've had some people talking about Python and R. Again, there are very many platforms that can help you learn all of these skills. So we have platforms like Coursera. Let me just share the slides with you on platforms that you can use. So currently there's been an online tool that people go to actually learn. When you actually want to learn anything in terms of Python, in terms of Alteryx, in terms of Power BI, there's the Chat GPT. So when you just go there and search literally any question when you're stuck, it gives you the solution. Then there are courses on Udacity, which give us the opportunities to learn more of these. So there are business intelligence data analysis. So when you're actually going into the market space and into the workspace, we have Udacity, which is mainly geared towards solving solutions that you're working to in terms of business now intelligence analysis, because data analysis is very broad. So it could be you're maybe in the banking sector and you want to understand how revenue reassurance is done. So the best place for you to do your data analysis would be on Udacity. Then we have schools that are actually doing online courses right now that can help you. So we have a school called Moringa School. It's a 6-month program that takes you through what data analysis is and where you can get all this knowledge and of course we have Coursera and we have the Harvard Business School online. They charge a small fee, but the one that is actually free completely is the Chat GPT, where it's online and readily available for anyone who wants to learn. If you have a question there, I think this would be good time for us to understand if there's anyone who has a question.
All right, we have someone who has a question. Please feel free to unmute. See Peter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. My name is Zipeta, and I really like the way you've given a very brief insight on what data analysis is all about. But my question is, I'm currently working on a research based on NLP and translation, mostly with sign language. So I need to know, how can I be able to actually gather that amount of data so that I can be able to actually use it for in language translation mostly. So yes, kindly assist me in that area.
Okay, thank you. So you've already understood the problem that you're facing. The question I would have for you, where exactly are you obtaining your data from? Is it data that is public, or is it data that you have to get permission to access?
Okay, actually, that's also a good question because it has been a challenge for me. So I'm literally relying on half researches that have been done by students online, and that is not enough since sign language is not a universal language. It's kind of hard. So how can you best advise me on that?
So I remember when I was doing my project I'll just give an illustration. I was doing my final honors project and I had a challenge with obtaining my data. So the best way would be, I personally created a questionnaire that was geared towards the different sources of data that people know outside that are geared to the area that you're specifying your project on. So you send out that questionnaire. What is amazing is I got a connection that worked with the government institution. Again, there needs to be approval when you get a connection. So you reach out to, when you get a connection, you reach out to that organization. You have to sign forms for that approval. And then when they sign forms, the forms also have to be declared that you're actually doing a project. Of course, they will not give you the right, they will not give you people's personal information, but at least you would get approvals and forms to continue with the data that they give you. Because your project is geared towards data that is private to people, it would be good if you could also reach out to organizations where you stay nearby, that you know are get those data sets, and then you ask them how you can get it and what are the steps. Sorry, this is all part of data analysis when it comes to the data part. So you have to go and reach out to the relevant authority, ask them if there are forms that you need to sign and how long would they give you authority to use the data that they will make available to you. I can't promise it would be 100% data, but it will be data that can help you scope your project narrower, because what you're currently doing is you're getting sources from different sites, and that is narrow data. It's not really narrowing it down to your problem, and you might end up solving many different problems and not solve the particular problem that you want to solve.
Okay, thank you for that. I will actually try your method of approaching specific people.
Yeah, and you can go the questionnaire way. So you might not know, but someone in your circles might actually know someone in an institution, and they would guide you on how to reach out to the authority.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
We do have another question, but I don't quite understand it. He's asking, or she, I don't know, how to gain mindset of data analysis. Please, could you come off mute and explain what you mean, please? Okay, there are no other questions.
Okay, so we can proceed. The final place I wanted us to have a key emphasis on was analyzing and sharing of our results. So when I put on the first video when we were starting our session, we saw they are, at least I know there are many. We have like diagnostic analysis where you diagnose what is the problem and make an analysis from that. But I would say where we are currently heading with our solutions in the different sectors of business would be the predictive analysis. So you'd notice like in most of the financial organizations, they don't have models to govern how their revenue is being recognized. So it would be really good if you moving into the data aspect, you think of what am I bringing over to this client? What are the models that I've actually created, that when I go, even if I'm doing my model work, I can sit with the client and tell them, this is what I'm thinking, this is what you should be doing with regards to your revenue assurance, so that next year when I come and do the same analysis from you, we can actually rely on what we had created as a model. So it's always good for us to understand what value are we bringing to this client, and predictive modeling has shown to be one that is good. Then we have descriptives where we just create Power BIs and Tableaus to basically show the current position as it is. Then we have the prescriptive one. So prescriptive one is just showing, for example, let me give an illustration. If you want to show the distribution of medicine for HIV people in different medical wards in Kenya. So the descriptive one comes in situations where you just want to show what are the trends, what quantity of medicine do we have, how many ARVs do we have for clients at this time, so, and what's the profit that we are making out of it. So it's something like that. And yeah, so that was the slides and steps in data analysis. So of course, also this one I'd want us to discuss about some of the challenges that we encounter as data analytics people or people involved in data. So I think for me, one of the issue has always been data availability. Like you can get your data, but the availability, the opportunities for you to get that data, especially if it's not approved and authorized, it's always hard. I'll go back to the issue of actually, if maybe there's a student here who's still finishing their project, I would always advise someone who's knowing that they're going to go through the data analytics type of project in campus to pick a project where they know accessing this data even online is available, because you are not fully guaranteed if you can get private data, because it's data that belongs to people out there. So maybe if there's someone who's doing a project in data, you can always search for data that is available and narrow down your projects from that so that it doesn't disturb you in the other steps. And then there's issue of completeness when you're working actually in the workspace. So you know you can't finish a certain project when your data is not complete. So I'll give an illustration of, let's say you're recomputing revenue for a client, let's say a bank, and revenue in terms of loans. So if your data is not complete for every month that you're completing, so even your accuracy and even the privacy of the data, it won't be of, like your results won't yield positive results because your data was not complete at the first step. So I think for me, those have been the key challenges when I'm working that I have identified in the data space. This time I'd like to welcome anyone who's been doing a lot of data work to tell us some of the other challenges that they've been experiencing. I know we've been experiencing quite a couple, so the space is open to anyone.
Feel free to use the chat box to send in your thoughts, or you can raise your hand and you'll be asked to unmute. Thank you. All right, please unmute. Thank you, Kafila.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, one of those challenges I personally have come across is accessing public data. Like in Nigeria, we have a very poor database whereby you can hardly get into the database and call out any aspect of any sector in Nigeria in terms of industry to call out. And for example, myself, I'm into business, and if I need business, data to be able to know how well customer are inclined to the product that needs to be. We have the secondary and the primary data. So being a primary data set that one will need to actually know how well the product will be received in the market. So that's one of the major challenges I feel that, and in some cases, you might need to buy this information from some companies which might not even be up to date. They might not be very recent. They might have been outdated or obsolete, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah, the issue of data availability is actually a challenge to everyone. So and in times where you receive your data, you actually have to adhere to what they tell you on the data, and also just even give them, even if they give you the data, them just giving you the exact kind of data that you want to solve your situation, your problem with, is something that is really of a challenge. Anybody else who has experienced a challenge?
Mujib in the chat, he said data incompleteness.
Yeah. Maybe does the person mind explaining further, because I've also experienced that. I'd like to hear that from them.
Mujib, you can hear us. Can you come off mute?
All right.
Hi.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah. So my experience with data incompleteness was when I was trying to do my project, which is just last year, December. So we got to CBN website in Nigeria to get the data on Forex exchange. So when we got data on a Forex exchange, we realized that some of the data reported are either wrong or not complete after putting them through some tests to see if they can fit the model we want to use it for. So I think that's the major problem that I have faced with my project, which actually delayed my project because we couldn't get an accurate data. We had to use one from the US. So that's the problem that I faced. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And clearly, you see, if you don't have the complete data, the problem that you're trying to solve can't be solved. So again, as we're doing our projects or as we're working, I think one thing we should always ensure is that we've checked completeness of our data sets. I think we talked about this. So now I would want to talk about the different fields and opportunities that are there for us as data analysts. So with my experience, I have noticed that the banking sector is actually on the lookout right now for a lot of data analyst experts. So the banking sector really looks for analyst people in terms of recomputing revenue reassurance for them, because some of the banks are identifying leakages that are happening. So it's key for them to understand where these leakages are happening before their financial years are over. So if you're keen maybe to working in a banking space, I think it would be key for you when maybe you're looking for an opportunity, you narrow it down to the banking sector for data analysts, especially for revenue reassurance in the finance department. For the healthcare, I feel like the healthcare is so huge and there's a lot of data analysis can be done, especially at the prediction levels. There are so many, not so okay to say this, but there are so many diseases that are rising up right now. And all our medics people want to see what are the trends that are happening. Not even just diseases, there are very many sectors. Like we have the blood sector where people really want to understand the demand and its supply. Here in Kenya, the demand is quite high, but our supply is low. And I feel like even in Nigeria, people would want to understand in which ward and at what time of the year is there like a lot a huge amount of blood. So opportunities are there in the healthcare. Even during COVID, we noticed that some people were actually creating data analysis tools that can be used by societies to make conclusions. For audit firms, they are always available on LinkedIn. They're currently actually hiring a lot of data analyst experts. So LinkedIn should be your best buddy. Just go search data analysis in audit firms, KPMG and the like. In the education sector, yes, of course, data analysis is really, really growing because different education ways are opening up. So there's also opportunities there. And in investment banks, these opportunities are actually there that the investment banks and the financial opportunities want to. Another way you can get opportunities is now, like, for example, attending as many webinar opportunities like this, where you can interact with people who are currently working in the data analysis space, and you can have a chat with them and they can guide you on how their journey was when they were getting into data analysis. For me, I joined data analysis field and my passion grew it when I joined PwC. And I was fortunate enough because at that time, it's when the data analysis team was being created. So I managed to be amongst the people who's spearheading it. And that's how my journey has been. So you also, sometimes you don't have to join the data analysis field through the aspect of looking for a data analyst job. You can enter an audit firm like KPMG and join as a graduate trainee. When you enter there, you go specifically ask your boss if there's an opportunity for data analysis in the organization, and you can find yourself in data analysis. Then you can check, again, on LinkedIn, you can check for banks that are looking for data analysis, because nowadays they are actually posting a lot of them. I think maybe there's someone who knows about different other opportunities. You can also share them with us and put a link for people to go and check after this session. Anyone who has a question with regards to that?
Someone has a question that, what about data analysis in business?
Yeah, data, okay, it depends on what business. Maybe they can open up and tell us what exactly they're looking for.
Kafila, please feel free to unmute and ask a question.
Yes, thank you very much. What by business consumer products, manufacturing, and I want to product innovation and product design, want to bring out a new product, want to know how well the market, how viable the product will be in the market, as well as revenue, to produce revenue business, and to enlarge the customer base, and so many other things that can be a problem or issue in a business sector or a business so.
Sorry, you're breaking on my end. Maybe Gigi, you can try and tell me what she was asking.
I couldn't really hear her per se. Maybe, Kapila, please, could you leave your question in the chat and I can read it out for her? In the meantime, I think this is, okay, Mustafa has a question. He said,
okay.
He says, hello, Cyrose, thanks for the awesome presentation. Here's my question. Could you please give significant distinction between data analysts and data scientists? Are they career related?
So yeah, that's actually a nice question. So data analysis and data science is actually, they're fields that intertwine, but there's a slight difference. So for data analysis, it's more of, I'd say it's more of descriptive analysis, but now when you go to data science, this is where now you start digging into and implementing the models for making predictions. So things such as using the NPL model that we've just been there's someone who mentioned them. So the modeling part of it actually comes into data science, but now the data analysis part is where you just analyze data. So in terms of by analyzing, I mean using things like Alteryx, Python, just the low level one. But now for data science, this is where now we actually want to see the trends, the curves that are actually happening. So I believe that answers the question in a general way.
Your question. If not, please feel free to leave your comments in the chat. Jessie has a question. Is data analytics and business analytics the same? If not, what is the difference? Also, do they use the same tools?
Also, do they use
the same tools?
Okay, so business analytics is a child of data analytics. So data analysis, when we mention it, it's general, the whole data. I think when I started, I mentioned something about it. So there's the business intelligence analysis. This is where this is actually narrowed down to businesses. So when I'm doing data analytics, I can do any type of analytics general. But for business, let's say if you're working in an organization, let's say it's company ABC. Company ABC is maybe a bank that deals mainly with financial activities. So for the financials, when you're doing for that particular business, you're going to be doing business analytics in the financial sector. So for business, it's just business, but most of these tools that are used are almost the same, because when you go to many businesses and organizations right now, what they're using are the Power BI, the Tableaus, the Alteryx, the Python. So the tools are always the same, just that for business, it's specifically we are handling this type of business.
Okay, awesome. Jessie, I hope that answers your question. Kafila sent in a question in the chat, but I think we could give Celestine a chance to ask his question, and we'll go back to that. Celestine, please feel free to unmute.
All right, thank you very much for that awesome presentation. Mine is not actually a question, but in terms of looking for the opportunities where you get a job. But I just want to add that the freelancing aspect of it was omitted from your comments. But then I think the first job I got as a data scientist was in a freelance kind of zone. So I think the way you present yourself, your social media, how you handle them, like your Twitter, what you present to people, even your WhatsApp status, be creative about it. That can even fetch you recommendation. After that job, I was recommended for a particular company to come and work as a data scientist. So,
oh, that's nice. That's nice. I like that.
Freelancing aspect of it, this side of it.
Yeah, true freelancing. Maybe to add to that, as a freelancer, I think it's good to add to our portfolios as freelancers that there's something we've worked on. Maybe there are models that we've created, and these are the things that we are posting on like our WhatsApp status and on social media. So like having a model that shows the different steps that you've included and it's actually worked, so that when you're going to that organization that they've given you the job, you can actually have a model where they just input the data, and I think maybe that's why they gave you the job, because they saw, oh, this person already has the models that they're well equipped with.
Awesome. Thank you, Celestine. So back to Kafila's question around business application. So she's talking about solving problems of customer experience, product design, and innovation, market viability for manufacturing and production.
Okay, so the question was, how do we solve those problems?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's hard to, no, I mean, the question was around how to get data for those problems, and if it's possible to do data analysis for that. So again, it depends on your business and how you acquire data. So let's say you're doing like the video that we showed, and at first it was actually a manual process, so they were not able to collect the information. But now with time, they're able now to collect information and store it in their system. So the data analysis part of that would actually be easy. So it actually starts from the data warehouse part, like how are you collecting this data and putting it on your warehouse? Because then if you have the data, then it's easy for you to incorporate the data analysis. So I think I forgot mentioning this, but the part of obtaining the data, it's always easier if you actually have a data warehouse in your business whereby you're collecting data. So that by the time that you're trying to come and actually implement your data analysis, the data warehouse part of it is not hard. One thing I've seen different people in audit firms doing right now is they're trying to create a model for data warehouses that they use when they're going to their clients to do the data analysis for them. So I'd tell her to really invest in data warehousing for the business so that data analysis won't be a big problem.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Kafil, I hope that answers your question. We have a question from Olarewaju. For data analysis, is Python the more popularly accepted language or R? And why is it a necessity to have to learn both?
Okay, it's not a necessity to learn both. So I personally have interacted more with Python, though I do have colleagues who use R, and some prefer and say R is actually much easier to learn than Python. But for my case, Python works well. It's important for you to know Python because even with the other tools that you're using, of course, for Power BI and Tableau, you don't need to know Python. But for these other modeling tools like ChatGPT and Alteryx, most of the time, they need some bit of Python involved in it. So that's why it's always important to know Python. Of course, maybe you won't be the most exemplified person, but the little basics you get here and here when you're implementing your tools for modeling, Python would come in handy.
Awesome. I hope that answers your question. We have another question from Mustafa. We have a lot of questions. Okay. In the course of learning, the whole thing sometimes seems abstract. Someone finding it difficult to comprehend. What's your advice?
Sorry, I lost you.
In the course of learning, the whole, learning data analytics feels abstract and difficult to comprehend. So what's your advice for someone facing this difficulty?
Okay, thank you for the question, Mustafa. What I normally tell myself is if you've got a lot of data, the easiest way to learn data in if your model would work is just pick one sample. Don't do the whole entire population. So if you know you have an issue when it comes to using Alteryx and you have a lot of huge data sets, for you to understand it easy would be you to pick one sample and run with it throughout your entire project before you actually submit your whole project. And then a good way would be, of course, we don't expect all of us to just go and start learning Alteryx, Power BI, Python at the same time. It would actually be good for 1 month. You say, this month I'm going to use Coursera to learn Python. Then you do the exams after and see. And then now after you've done your exam, you now go and pick one sample, not the entire population. And I think that would be easy. Maybe you already have the whole data set, but again, data doesn't make sense when you just go and input all of it at once. So that's why when you pick one sample with your little knowledge that you've gotten from Coursera, you run with it through step by step. That would be the best way to do it. You can also use YouTube. YouTube has really helped me a lot to solve situations. The way you would actually search for a problem, how to input data in Excel is the same way you actually go and search on YouTube how to input data on Alteryx. Or there's also an Alteryx community. You just go and search how to input data in Alteryx and it will just be so clear. So you should use those as your sources and your friends.
Okay, I hope that answered your question. So Kafila has a follow-up question. How do you create a data warehouse?
So there are different ways of creating a data warehouse. So it also depends on the business that you're into. So for example, for the audit firm, most of the times, what normally happens is revenue reassurance. So for data warehouse, you're going to understand the different fields that you're going to need when you're doing revenue reassurance. So when you're creating a warehouse, you are going to, first of all, obtain the different fields that you need, and then create now a model, a simple model that when you just share the list of requirements to the client knows these are the fields that I'm going to be providing to the person that I want. So they just go and feed into your model even before you show up for the work. So the model should be able to also pick for different, in fact, it should be able to pick the fields that you want, and it should be able to make it also easier to the client. And also on the client side, you have to share some insights with them and inform them what is a data warehouse, what are the benefits of me creating a data warehouse with you, so that they can understand how the process is going to be easier.
I hope that answers your question, Kapila. So you have another question from Yvonne. What is the importance of a data warehouse? And if you have, okay, what's the importance of a data warehouse if you have a database and S3 for storage?
Okay, so if you have a database, well and good, actually much better. But there are some instances where maybe the data is not there, it's missing, and it's not found. So that's where now we bring the data warehouse aspect of it. Maybe you've not done work for this client before, so it's your first time to work for them, and maybe they also don't have a database. So that's why a data warehouse comes into place. And maybe this whole concept of data analysis is the first time happening to them, and they want to experience it. So that's why the first time will be a bit challenging, but the next time when you're doing work for them, definitely telling them about the data warehouse should be good. So I think for now, we can speak about experiences from, I would like to hear experiences for people who've worked in the data analysis space. That would be good. So the platform is free for anyone to share with us their experiences, and maybe someone can also give us challenges and tell us this is how they feel the different spaces in the market are heading to, and these are opportunities that we as data analysts should open up and do work for. So the platform is free from anyone, and I'll also share an opportunity that I feel we should venture into as data analytics.
Okay, please feel free to use the raise hand feature so we can call on you and you can unmute and share what your experiences are.
So I'll go first. I feel like the banking sector is in need of data analysts in terms of creating models for them. So in terms of you building your own portfolio and actually not going there and being sent as KPMG or PwC or BDO or whatever, I feel like we as data analysts should come out and you start your own little portfolio, do your simple models, understand what revenue assurance aspects are there in the bank sector, walk into those bank sectors, give them your models from the point of understanding the problem to the data warehouse. If you have a database, well and good, to the other bits, and actually creating a predictive for them. If this time your loans, income, or whatever your expenses were projecting to this amount, and maybe the prior year were projecting to the other amount, so you tell them we expect it to be this in the coming year, so that even when they are working, they know what expectations are there. I feel that that's a field that we as data analysts should look into. Someone else can go.
Okay, we have a comment. Okay, so Olarinwaju. Okay. Olaya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Please feel free to unmute. Then we can go to the question in each other. Okay, while they are getting that sorted out, Olarinwaju has a question. He's asking if he can see how a data analyst portfolio is to look like.
Yes, I can definitely share one to everyone's email after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. So you receive that as well as the recording after the session, and also a feedback form so we can gauge how much everyone loved the session. Please, if you want to speak, please raise your hand. Okay. You don't have any comments yet, please feel free to ask any questions you have. I'll also be sharing links in the chat if you want to connect with the speaker. Also, okay, David, please unmute. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I want to ask, I'm actually learning on Coursera. I'm in my Module 5, but I'm trying to create a project, even a simple one. But every time I try to start, I just get blocked. I don't actually know where to start from. I don't know how to start a project or where to start from in creating a project. So I'm always getting confused, and that always actually gets me tired and confused about this whole thing.
Okay, I get the challenge. You can get my email after the meeting and we can have a look at that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay, there's a question in the chat. How does a beginner get started? I am somewhat confused. Can you recommend a site or app where one can learn and practice SQL?
SQL, yes, I can recommend one. So we have Udacity. You can go check Udacity. Though they normally charge, I think they charge like $20 or $30 the last time I did mine. That's a very good place to learn SQL.
Awesome. You can also use, just to chip in, you can also use DataCamp or DataQuest, who are also our partners, and they also offer great courses on SQL. Looking for any other questions. Receiving a lot of thank yous. Okay, so let's also suggest SQL bots. The link is in the chat. Okay, Hanlaw is asking, which international certification is best for a data analyst?
The ones I've seen, you can check the Harvard one, the one for business intelligence online. Yes, that would be a good one.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Cyrose. I think we can wrap up at this point because we have like 5.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed learning from you. I hope everyone did too. So I've shared the links in the chat. You can connect with her. You can connect with I and Jennifer, who are the co-hosts. You can also learn more about TechUp Africa from the links and also Zindi. So I'm going to share my screen. We are currently about to wrap close applications for our mentorship program, which will kick off in February. So I'm going to share my screen and give a little bit of detail about that, and then we can wrap up the session. Okay, so TechUp Africa mentoring program is going to kick off in February, and what's exciting about it is that we're partnering with DataQuest to offer a 6-month free access to their courses, all for free, and the mentorship program is for free also. So you have access to a community of learners who will be there to support you as well. You have access to mentors. Our curriculum is from DataQuest, of course, and we have hackathons with Zindi, and also be hosting career fairs, of which Ishango is one of our partners regarding that, and we'll also try to invite more. We'll also be inviting companies as well to hire after the mentorship program. So if you'd like to apply, the link, I'll be sharing the link in the chat. Sorry, just give me a sec. Or you can, it's on the website as well. So when you follow the link tree, you go straight to the TechUp Africa website and you find a TAMP page where you can apply as a mentor if you have a lot of experience and you would like to share with the community and help other people grow. Or you can apply as a mentee and get the support you need in your data career. So we are offering this in 4 different tracks. I've shared a link to the direct link to the application in the chat. So we have 4 tracks for data analysts, business analysts, data engineers, and data scientists in different aspects in Tableau, Power BI, R, Python. So feel free to apply, and we'd love to receive applications. And of course, it's closing soon on the 31st. So we'd love to see receive your applications and review them. Also, please, it's best if you include projects that you worked on, because we need to know that you're serious, because this is going to be a very intense 6 months. So please, if you worked on any projects, please feel free to include those in your application. If you don't necessarily have a portfolio page, a GitHub profile is fine. So I will call on Jennifer to wrap up if she has anything to say more about Zindi and what they're working on currently, and then I will close up. So Jennifer, please feel free to come up mute.
Thanks, Gigi, and thanks, Cyrose. You that really helped me when I was beginning my data science journey was YouTube and data camp guided projects. So in YouTube, there's this guy called Alex the Analyst. He has like some guided projects there. They were really informative, Tableau, Power BI, and also SQL projects. He also has a portfolio, a sample portfolio, and how you can build one just for free using GitHub. And yeah, so also don't forget to join Zindi. It's a place where you can learn a lot by having this kind of, we have open source, like, so that you can also build your portfolio. You can also compete there and have awesome prizes and connect yourself to jobs and to other people. So thank you guys for joining today. Back to you, Gigi, if you have anything else to say.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. It's been awesome co-hosting this session with you. I've left the links to connect with us, connect with the speaker, to join TechUp Africa Community, and also to join Zindi. They are one of the best data science platforms for Africans. So please do join them. You can also join our community. You'll find us on our website. TechUp Africa is an initiative under PAWEN. So if you want to learn more about what PAWEN is about, you can follow us on our social media pages, and you can also follow TechUp Africa directly. You also learn about what PAWEN in general is doing. So again, please apply. We are really, really looking forward to receiving as many applications, and would love to support as many people as we can. And thank you so much for joining us today. You'll be hearing from us next month. This is a continuous series. We'll be inviting another data professional from a different field. It could be data science, data engineering. You'll be the first to find out in your email. So see you next month, and thank you for joining us. Bye. Also, if you have any questions, I'll be sticking around for like 5-10 minutes after this, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. Bye.
Bye.